All right, I'm back with another video here in my garage, and just want to give another update on my garage art project that I'm building out of a burnt Ferrari 360. So you can definitely see that I've added some more parts since the last video. So I tried to just not make a video on every single part. So when I accumulate something that looks significant, I try to make a video on that to keep some of my friends and whoever's watching the videos, keep them updated on my project. But you can definitely see that I've added, I wasn't planning on going this far with this project, but then like you can see now I've added the air box on the back. You know, once I started working on the front and started working back, that area back on the rear part of the gearbox, it just looked like it just looked very void, that area back there. So I decided to take a chance and order the airbox assembly and put it back there, and then with the throttle bodies and all those parts there that connect, that to see if I can just fill that void in it so it looks more complete. And I think I kind of like it. I think it looks pretty good. And then it's a little bit wider in the back. So, but once I put the headers on, you know, when it goes up here, once you put that catalytic converter and stuff on the back, it'll kind of bring out, and it'll be the same width as the airbox to kind of fill that void in there also. So I think it should look pretty good once it's done. So I think I'm going to definitely keep the airbox on there. But like I said, I ordered it just taking a chance. It could be a 50-50 shot that I was actually going to keep that on there if it did look right, or just look, you know, not uniform as far as this assembly is. I'm trying to, the look that I'm going for. But I think it looks pretty good. I think I'm going to keep that on there. So let's go over first. You definitely see that I've got this header I've got done so far. And then I'll show you the other one. This is what it looked like, just in case if you hadn't seen some of the other videos. But that's the one that was burned up in the fire with the engine, of course. But I haven't touched this one at all, so it looks like that. But this one still has the heat shield on it. So this one, I went ahead and removed the heat shield. Just used like an angle grinder with a 4-inch cutting disc on it, and just very carefully cut, you know, around the heat shield all the way around it. Now, some areas that are very tight, I couldn't get that big disc in there, so I had to use a Dremel with a small cutting disc and cut in some areas. Just got to be careful as you cut through the heat shield that you don't cut, you know, the pipes that are underneath. So I had to be very careful with that. But it turned out pretty good. It looks pretty nice. Then once you can peel that back, then there's a bunch of like fiberglass matting that's under there. And then you have to remove all that, and then you'll see the bare pipes under there. So basically after that, I just took it, put it into the vapor honing machine, and then blasted it. It probably took me about, I'd say 15-20 minutes to blast this, and it would have been a lot quicker, but as I said in one of my past videos, the compressor that I got, it just can't keep up with this machine here, so I had to constantly wait for it to catch up, and then I could start blasting again. And also there's a lot of intricate areas to try to get in between the pipes and stuff. It was very hard to get that big nozzle in between there to blast it, but it turned out pretty good. And this is just raw steel right here, and I've got a bunch of handprints from handling it and trying to put it on here, so you'll see that on there. But it's pretty clean though. It looks pretty good, but it's just raw steel. So we'll have to figure out, we'll have to put some kind of coating on it to protect it from rust. But we'll figure that out sooner or later. But I kind of like the way that silver looks. I was planning on painting it black, but I don't know. I think that looks pretty good there. So anyway, this side's done. I still have to do the other side. And then let's go over here, these parts. So I got the 2 throttle bodies. Actually, I picked up both these throttle bodies. I got these rubber boots here, which connects to these sensors here. So I got that side there, this side here. I picked those up for around $700, maybe a little bit more. That's what I talked them down to. So I was able to pick these up. And then I got the 2 crossover pipes. I think one of them is called like a butterfly pipe, but this one here connects to this valve cover here, jumps on across and connects to the valve cover on that side, and then comes over here and connects to the tank right here. Then you have this other pipe over here, which connects to 2 throttle bodies, and then jumps on over here and connects to this tank. There's a vacuum line that runs here, tees off, and goes to each side of the upper plenum here. I mean the lower plenum on the bottom side here. And Then you have, I picked up this coolant tank. I think I got this for like 160. I talked them down to, was able to get this. And then I got the air box, for, I think for 350. Can't remember if that includes shipping or not, but so I got the whole assembly here. It's not perfect shape. It's got some damage here. Some of the tabs are kind of bent up a little bit. But we'll get those straightened up. So I was able to get the whole, and even had, when I opened it up to check the filters, they were actually looked like they were brand new. So looks like somebody might have just changed them before the car got into an accident. And that is it for this back here. So I got it just sitting on a piece of wood, piece of 2x4 to kind of get it at the right height to see what it looked like, you know, nice and level. So it looks pretty good. But like I said, these parts are, I haven't even touched them yet. I just got them straight from when I got them shipped here. So I have to, the throttle bodies are actually good working order. They're very nice, good shape. So, but I got to find a way to clean this up. I might have to disassemble it to clean, the vapor hone this to get it, because it's kind of, they're kind of not pitted, but they're kind of need some cleaning right here. So we have to figure that out. And then I'll just vapor hone this. I'll take the sensor out here, and I'll vapor hone this, get this paint off. And then this, I'll probably have to either sand it or take it and we'll get it powder coated or something, the tank and this assembly right here. So we're still working on that there, but yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's go over here to the front, and then see if we can get a shot here of the back. So it looks pretty good. And then you can see that I painted the pulleys. That's the crank pulley. I just got it setting on there now, and then it's kind of crooked, but it's just, there's nothing holding it on there. So I wanted to see what it looked like, but I painted that, water pump pulley, power steering pulley, and the pulleys for the camshafts. I wanted to go with a satin, but I ran out, so I was like, let me try this semi-gloss and see what it looks like. So it looks pretty good. The only problem is with the camshafts, those pulleys there, and pretty much the crankshaft pulley too. When it burned up in the fire, it kind of pitted up the pulleys a little bit, but they still look good. But the semi-gloss kind of exacerbates the pits, you know. So I think with going later on when I do the final assembly, we'll probably go back with a satin, so it'll actually look better. But for right now, they look pretty good. I haven't done. You can see I haven't done these pulleys yet. I'll have to get those done. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. It's not too bad at all. It's coming along there, but I'm starting to get farther and farther along. I wasn't planning on adding the exhaust system, you know, as far as the catalytic converters, and now I'm even thinking about adding the muffler on the back. So we'll have to see how far this goes, but it's starting to get a little pricey. But it's okay. It's a lot of fun. You know, it's just a fun little project. But so what I'm going to do now is, instead of just cutting the video off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start working on this this header / exhaust manifold assembly here. So what I'm going to do is, I won't be able to film it while I'm cutting that shield off because it'll be too dangerous. So what I'll do is I'm going to start cutting this, and then we'll see if we can get it peeled back, and then I'll show you what that looked like, just in case if you're curious and haven't seen it before. I'll show you what it looks like underneath. So let me go ahead and start working on that, and then I'll be back. All right, I'm back, and you can see I now have the heat shield removed, and that's my hack job right there. It looks pretty rough. So basically, you can see I just cut around that seam right above it, all the way around, and I just used a cheap, just angle grinder with that cutoff wheel on there. Did the trick, cuts right through it like butter. So you can see we're just cut. And then what I did was, you see right there around where like the oxygen sensor sticks out, and this fitting right here, I just cut around it like a square. And then on one side I kept it kind of close, and trying to be careful not to cut through to cut the pipe underneath here, but kept it kind of close. And then that way I could just, you know, once I got it cut around and all around here, and it's kind of hard to trim up in here, and then sometimes it's kind of, the welds kind of are hard to get to, but then you kind of open this up and peel it up, and you can also grind these out here, but you have to kind of get it up and over this. You can probably take this piece off here, I assume, and then the oxygen sensor, but you got to get it up and over that fitting and then peel it back. I found it easier just to cut it square. It literally takes about a couple minutes just to cut that, and then I got plenty of room to just kind of peel it back without having to try to get it up and then peel it back, and that's it. So really easy. And then, once you got that square piece, you just cut a little notch in there, pair of pliers, grab it, just wiggle it and break it off and bend it back and then slide it off. And that was it. See right there, I just pulled those off. They bend really easy. And then this is what it looks like underneath. So I don't know what this material is. I don't know if it's fiberglass. Sure doesn't look like it, but it sure itches like it is. But you can see it. I don't want to pull it too much. You can actually see where it rubbed through underneath there. I don't want to make a mess here on the floor, but let's peel it back. You can kind of see what's going on. And you can see it all stuffed in between there. It's all over here too. Just basically wraps around. And really that's about it. This, I don't know if this is fiberglass or not, but looks like they just wrap it around and they use this to kind of hold it. And then they put the shield on it. But that's what it looks like there. Yeah, so I have to kind of pull this off. And then, yes, it's really easy. Just pulls it off. Oh, so I'm going to take this back outside. I'm going to remove all this. And then I'll be back. All right, so I got the header cleaned up. I got that material removed. And this is what it looks like here. And then I was kind of going through checking to see if there was any cuts on the pipes, if I made any mistakes, and if the blade went too... if the disc went too far in and cut the pipe, but it looks like I got away with not doing that. So it looks pretty good. So the only thing I had to do now was take that old oxygen sensor out right there. I just used that oxygen sensor socket to remove that. But since the wire is removed, burn off, I didn't have to use that. I could use a 22 millimeter wrench and got that off too. So it came right out, not a big deal. And then we'll just leave everything like it is now. The gasket's still on there. I'll try and vapor hone that and let's see what it turns. Maybe I'll clean that up a little bit. And then I'll slide that off and then we'll vapor hone under there. So I'll go ahead and stick this in the machine. I'll try to videotape it if I can. And then I don't know if it'll turn out good, but let's see what we can do. So let me go ahead and put this in the machine and I'll be back. All right, so I got the header in the vapor honing machine now. And I'm going to make a video on this machine later in case somebody's curious to see how this thing works. But anyway, it's in here. And then let me show you this real quick. Look how dirty this water is. This is what I've been cleaning parts with. But look at that. It is like really, really bad in here. And what I'll try to do right now, the water level is too high, so I have to drain it. There's a little valves on the other side over there. And then what you do is you can open certain ones up to get it to a certain level. So that's what I need to do now, drain some of this water off. But I'm not going to completely drain it all the way out and then fill it back up because these parts are just filthy here. But they still come out pretty clean, believe it or not, with the water being that dirty. But yeah, definitely with what happens, the water level goes up because there's a sprayer. It's right there. And then it sprays on the glass to... keep it so you can get a good visual on the parts you're cleaning. And then also with media that gets on the whatever part you're blasting, sometimes you got to spray it off to kind of get a good look and make sure you got all the areas. And then also that will make the water level in here rise. So I'm going to drain off some of this water now and get it to the right level. And then I'll see if I can put my phone up to the glass. Maybe it'll stay up there and we'll see if it'll record. At least I'll try to record as I'm cleaning, not the whole process, but some of it. So I'll be back. Okay, so the audio is going to sound kind of funky because I don't have the microphone on. I just got the phone laying up against the glass. It's actually resting on the seal for the glass, so hopefully it won't fall off. So I'll try to film a little bit, and you can kind of watch me for just a couple minutes here. And then it'll take I haven't fired the system up yet, so it'll take a couple seconds for it to get going, for the media to get picked up. But here we go. turn I got a headlamp on. Let me turn it on. Maybe we can get a better visual of it. You can already see the difference. And you can't really tell, but the cleaning starts to slow down because the compressor can't keep up. So what I'll do is I'll wait for it to shut off, and this is what slows the process down. So let me wait till it shuts off and I'll be back. Okay, I had to wait for the compressor to kick off. I thought I'd open the door and show you this real quick. That's only a couple minutes, but we're going to have to keep going over, you know, like I said, the more you go over it, the cleaner it'll get. But little spots like this, you're going to have to, spend more time on that. And then also, if you remember the other header, it had like a nut that was on there. I guess it was brass. Well, this one, you can see it. Look how hot they got because it melted. So I have to pick this off. If I clean this up and then come back and pick that off, it'll be dirty underneath there. So I'm going to clean that off real quick. Any other remnants around there, I'll continue vapor honing and I'll be back. All right, so I got the camera back in the glass again, and then I've been vapor honing for a while now. And like I said, just wait for the compressor to shut off to build back pressure. And also sometimes I just let it sit for a little bit to cool down. But I'll film a little bit. Make sure this phone doesn't fall over. Okay, it's not the best view, but and also, like I said, the sound sounds different because I had to take the microphone off to put it next to this glass. But get this light. You can see the media and stuff is still on there. It's harder to see with the dirty media on there, but okay, let's go. Start cleaning here. Another thing, some of these thicker pieces, like sometimes this flange here, especially this collar on here, right there, it's kind of rough. So this is really taking a long time to clean up, this piece right here. This side, I started getting a little bit, see here, but it takes a little bit longer to get this clean. Like I said, especially this rough piece here, but just got to keep going at it. I'll go ahead and stop and I'll wait for the compressor to shut off. Okay, so we're making some progress. Like I said, I just have to keep stopping and waiting on this compressor. So plus my phone right now, it's about to die, so I'm going to have to put it on the charger real quick. So what I'm going to continue doing is I'll go ahead and put my phone in the charger real quick, and then while it's charging, I'm going to go ahead and get to cleaning on this. And then, like I said, when I get done with this piece, then I'll come back and we'll start recording when I open the door up and we'll take a look at it. All right? I'll be back. Okay, so I think we're done with this header. Plus I need to stop. It's getting late and I don't want to bother the neighbors. So I'm sure there's going to be some areas where I missed, but it's pretty clean for now. And then, like I said, we can do a final cleaning on it later. But at least we got a lot done for today. So now what I'm going to do is just rinse this off. I'll rinse off the candle real quick here. Open it up. So this will go down to the bottom. And I also think that I've been using this stuff for months, and it's pretty much, even if I clean the water, the media is it's at its end of its life cycle. So then we're going to rinse this off here. Got it pretty good. Should be good enough. Okay. Just let it drain a little bit there. So what I'm gonna do now is I got this little hand blower, and I'm gonna blow it off, make sure the pump's off. So I'm gonna open this cabinet up just for safety, so in case the pump won't come back on. So let me get this cabinet opened up, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got the cabinet door opened up. So what I'm gonna do now is I'll take a blower, just this one here. My wife bought it, and I was like, I don't need this thing. I have the compressor, and actually I really like it. But anyway, I'll blow the excess. I'll roll this part around. I'll blow the excess water off in here. Then we'll take it out, and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, so I got the header out, and use my little blower that my wife bought me to blow off some of the excess water. I'll blow down all the tubes, and just did it for like 5 minutes to get it all dry inside as best I could, and then kept rotating it and get it everywhere. But yeah, it's I see some areas already I missed. Yeah, down in there a little bit, right down in here. But it's okay. I'll get that next time. We'll just we just have to wait till the daytime where we can put it back in the machine again. Probably it won't take that long to clean that up, but I think it looks a lot better from where it started from. So it looks pretty good. It's not too bad, not too bad at all. And I'm actually liking this silver. I think it looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and then put a couple bolts, or not bolts, but a couple nuts, and put it in place, and just put a couple nuts on there to put it on the engine and see what it looks like, and I'll be back. All right, so I took the engine, kind of moved it around to kind of get this side in the light so we can see it better. So yeah, it looks pretty good. It's not too bad at all. Yeah, looks way better than it did when we first started. So yeah, and then probably the only thing I got to do now is later is remember I told you on the other side I started grinding off these welds right here, because eventually I'm going to remove these, like these little pieces right here, and it looks like they were on there to help hold the heat shield in place. So I'm going to grind I already ground the welds down the other side, but I'm going to hand file these down so I won't try to keep this piece without gouging it all up. And then we'll file that down, and then we'll remove this piece here, and then we'll clean it up, and then we'll vapor hone it again and clean that up. And same thing with this here. The other side, like I said, I already started grinding the welds off, and then we'll get those removed on the other side too. Because the other one, it's actually cut across here, but it's not a big deal. It's coming off anyway. Yeah. And like I said, I've seen some areas where I missed. It's not a big deal. We just wanted to get her cleaned up as best we could. I could have probably finished it up tonight, but it's getting really late. And then the compressor is so noisy, I don't want to bother the neighbors, because, they got a little baby. I don't want to bother them. So, but yeah, there's an area right here where I could do a little bit better. Looks like something was rubbing on there. I don't know if it was rubbing on the inside of the heat shield or not, but I can definitely get that a little bit better. Make it look really nice. But it's probably not going to matter. We just got to figure out later on when we do the final assembly on the engine if we're going to either get this painted, or I'm going to ceramic coat it, or whatever. I don't know. It's got to figure that out. But for now, right now, it looks really, really nice. Looks a lot better. And then also, there's another part that I forgot to mention that I got. That I bought earlier, and that's the lines right there for the heat exchanger. You see those right there? So I haven't had a chance to clean those up. I just stuck them on to make sure they were the right ones, and they seem to fit pretty good. But they go to the bottom of the heat exchanger down there. So that looks pretty good. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's get a shot of this front here. So it looks. Well, that looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks really, really nice. Yep, looks really good. You can see the headers, the way they stick out. They stick out past the air box on each side right there. So when I bring those cats in, they should come out a little bit and fill that void there on the sides. I should be able to see those, and it should come out almost probably flush with the sides of the air box right there. So that should look really good when I get those in place. Hopefully. They're not the prettiest things to put on, but like I said, we'll We might even put the exhaust system on later if I can find a nice one, because I think the one I got's pretty well dented up. But we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. But for right now, it looks really nice. And probably tomorrow I won't spend too much time on it. Just probably finish painting those pulleys in the front right there. Get those done, and then I'll try to source out that other timing belt bearing for the tensioner. We'll still got to source that out, and then I'll start doing some research on some more parts that I need to finish up this project here. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. Can't complain at all. So, all right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.